to another episode of Don't Believe Jack, Oscar edition, where we won't talk about the Oscars. They're going on right now. I'm not watching them. I'm sure the speeches are great, and legislators are hearing every word that every person has to say. I'm sure it's real powerful. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. I most importantly, I did. Ooh, what happened? What's been going on this week? I went to. I went. Oh yeah, let's start with last Saturday. I went square dancing, which was surprisingly excellent. It was wonderful. I had such a good time. I made so many new friends, so many memories. I like how people talk about people are like I made so many memories. I'm like, what? You're always making memories. Like what? I made so many memories that I'll just cherish forever. I like how it's weird. I'm saying it in a whisper, but also like an aggressive whisper, which is I think that's reserved for Yin Yang Twin songs. Holler. How many Yin Yang Twins references are we gonna have? I don't know. But yeah, no. I went square dancing. There's a whole story behind square dancing for me. It began when I was a boy. No, it began with someone in the fall saying they went square dancing and how excellent it was. And I was like, oh shit, I haven't been square dancing in forever. Like square dancing is just God, like what was that? Like elementary school where you square dance and you play badminton. It's all these activities that you're never ever gonna do again. Like yeah, PE is just full. Now I think about it, like PE is just full of. I mean, it's like a civics lesson. It's like coursework from the 1950s. That's what it feels like. We're gonna like duck under a table and survive a nuclear blast. We're going to play badminton. We're going to square dance. It's really funny and it's very telling because PE does not like it never includes like anything useful like swimming. Like PE never includes swimming. Why? Because there's just way too much liability risk in a school teaching kids how to swim. I mean, there's just like a billion ways to drown. Yet, actually, much more useful than badminton. But badminton is much less dangerous to the body, just as dangerous to the psyche. Um, but yeah, it's yeah PE, man. I think they just created PE so football coaches could get tenure. I think that's what they created. Well, Jeff technically needs to be part of the faculty, not so he can be coach, but so he can comply with the terms of his court order. Um, what's a good position for him? Oh, physical education, right? It's like it's always it's funny because like physical education is always like the it's always the dumb teacher. I'm just gonna go out there and just say that. I'm gonna go out on a limb. I know. It's never the smart teacher. It's never like a teacher being like, this is how your body works. This is the science behind your mental processes. This is how chemicals work. Like it's never like sports science. It's just sports, and you can only do sports in PE that no one in a million years ever touches. You know, like it can never be anything useful. It's got to be purely impractical. It's like mathematics. Uh, it's like this will prepare you for the future. Should you find yourself in a honky tonk bar? That's when this will be. That's when this will be effective. Oh God, I love doing this podcast. Because the truth of situations is hilarious. But yeah, oh my God, square dancing and PE, like it was just one of those things where it's like I think I knew pretty early on I was I was a nerd because of how good the books were to me, how good they felt. Like, so, boy, like all these activities were just ridiculous. Foursquare, basketball. We're getting evaluated. We're getting graded on the quality of our layups, like how the knee, right? Like the key to a layup is the leg and the hand both have to go up together simultaneously, and same hand and same leg. When I saw that, I wanted to go to the bathroom and then just walk out of the building because I am not that coordinated. But yeah, but some kids are just chomping at the bit. They got all this energy that they got to get out, and it's either gonna be God, it's either gonna be in shuffleboard or someone's gonna end up pregnant. That's those are the two options. So I mean, admittedly, shuffleboard. I mean, playing shuffleboard, God, that's reserved for people who shouldn't reproduce. Like people in their 80s. Um, and young teenagers striking out in the world. Yeah, PE is oh PE PE is literally just it's the cherry in your salad. That's the way I would describe PE for me personally, as someone who enjoyed books and good lectures and classes and learning. PE was not. I know I didn't learn like P90X or CrossFit in PE. You know what I mean? Like that would be education. That would be true. Like here's what you should eat. Like here's how to construct a diet. And not the kind where you're trying to lose weight, but diet in the most traditionalist of sense, and not diet as in legislative body, but diet as in way of life that makes life beautiful, right? That's education. That's mind expansion, and PE, oof, PE didn't represent that. PE never was that for me. I think the way that Langston Hughes writes about America's racial current, the contemporaneous racial climate is analogous to my relationship with physical education, which is to say, disappointment, disgust, anger, um, and the solution is rhyme schemes. So yeah, PE. Oh boy, oh boy. I had a really good. It's weird. We couldn't actually. You know what? It was a private school. I think we did. Did we swim as part of the PE? Maybe, but it might have been in a thimble of water. Because I think it would have been too much of a risk to have us actually go out and actually learn how to swim. So we just half learned. But yeah, you play basketball, uh, shuffleboard. God, they're preparing you for retirement. Yeah, I didn't. I took a camp later in life. I took a camping course. The only good thing I ever got out of that PE class was, and it's funny that they had us do this, but hey, it was a non-traditional school. As part of PE, we did massage. So we actually all got in a room and massaged one another, taking turns. That is the most useful thing I've ever been exposed to in a physical education class. Boy, has it been useful. I have put it to work multiple times. I'll just put it that way. And yeah, like some understanding of how the muscular system of the body works, or how to get out soreness, or how to feel for knots. There's something actually, and then connecting with other people. There's something very like pro-social about it, and also like I have to say, being a 13-year-old boy in the '90s, it's sort of like homophobia is very fashionable. So actually, it was very like empowering to to touch another man and to rub his back and stuff. It was actually like in some ways it was like a wonderful civics lesson. It's like we're all sore and we're all just trying to like get these aches out and these knots out, and we just want someone to touch us sensitively, and be attentive. Actually, honestly, it involved massage. The massage section involved a lot of like communication, trust, openness. Those were actually really. You know what? Now that I think about it, this fucking PE class was great, but I think just for that section. You know what I mean? I didn't learn shit doing layups the proper, ugly looking way. You know what I mean? Like, oof, got a lot of feels. Got a lot of feels around PE. I get it. They have to have it in there. Someone needs that A. That's all I'm saying. Someone needs that A. God bless them for getting it. But ugh, PE. I'm suspicious. I'm skeptical of PE. Ugh, it's just it's a made up position. Okay, there are so many ways to get exercise. So many friggin' ways to get exercise in life, and PE just seems. Oh, going in on PE tonight, man. I got a lot of anti. I got a lot of anti PE. But yeah, I mean, you can do things like mindfulness. I mean, an actual PE class that I would, probably feel like, yeah, it was good, would be like stuff about dealing with emotions, maybe stuff about nutrition, about constructing a proper diet, about listening to your body, maybe some mindfulness, as long as Jesus ain't hating. And I don't know, just maybe like a couple other things. But that's it. That's all that's I can't bear any more than that. I think it might be really really difficult to like to add other things to PE. But yeah, like mindfulness or hiking or camping or cooking, all that shit is useful. And actually no, how did I find my love of the outdoors? I think it was through. I'm pretty sure, like most things, I have been fortunate to stumble upon. I think it was through a girlfriend, actually. Now that I think about it, and hey, that's the way it goes. That's the way you get exposed to stuff. Um, but yeah, PE baby, PE baby, PE baby. Yeah. So, anyways, last time was square dance. I do remember the fact that like "Achy Breaky Heart" was played in my PE class. That song is forever stuck in my memory because it was played on repeat while we practiced. The latest in cutting edge dance moves 100 years ago. The serious cutting edge, the cutting edge in a time when they used to apply leeches after the cutting edge ran over your skin. That's and they were trying to get out the bad humors. That's how old square dancing is. It is primordial. It is. It should be. It's so frigging old and boring. It should be next to a woolly mammoth skeleton. That's what I'm trying. It's so mean. But honestly, I've never been captivated by woolly mammoth skeleton. Skeleton. I've never. That's true. I've never been mesmerized by a Woody Allen Scambleton. Not even in the least. No Scambletons for me. Um, uh, I don't even know. Well, I'm saying I am a little delirious. I think this pasta I made is kicking really hard, and no, it doesn't have any kind of weird psychoactive substances in it. It was just very heavy, and I am not prepared. Not prepared at all. I feel very ill prepared for the kinds of opportunities that this podcast presents. But I'm going to keep going. I'm going to stay strong for all of you listening. I'm going to stay strong for all the people out there who also ate pasta and were sleepy and had to go to sleep and couldn't finish something that was important that night, like the series finale of Ozark. That's my Oscar speech, actually. I'm just doing this for all the people out there who got tired of waiting in line as squirrel for waffles that were full of jam and they decided to get tacos. That's who I'm doing this for. That's why I'm making my stand here. And I'm proud and fortunate. I don't have any sense of shame, as you could probably guess from me doing this podcast. And that lack of shame has culminated in the Academy recognizing my abilities. And yes, I will proudly take home the award of Best Sound Effects Guy in a Major Motion Picture
God bless you. God bless America. God bless all of us. God bless all the works of this earth. And can I get an amen? Okay, I guess not. We are in Los Angeles. Anyways, thank you. I want to thank the Academy. Much love. Live long and prosper. Always strive and prosper. That's what ASAP and ASAP Rocky stands for. I thought it was as soon as possible Rocky, and I was like, you shouldn't be rapping. You should be boxing and falling in love. Those are the two ingredients of of being one of the greats. Um, yeah, what were we talking about? PE, physical education, and square dancing. Yeah, so square dancing is just an amazing activity. My friends were telling me about it. They were telling me how much fun it was. I think, if I'm gonna be honest, I think they maybe oversold it a little bit, but it was fun. You know, they were just like, it's really cool. You can meet all these people. There are cute girls, etc., etc. And I was like, okay, well, I could go over and do this, and it was just funny. It was just funny. It was held at an American Legion. It's just everything is lining up Orange County. You know what I mean? Everything's coming up Orange County in my experience of attending the square dance. So I show up, I pay my money, and then I go sit down, and actually a woman comes up and asks me if I would like to be her partner for a dance, and it was quite neat. It was quite dope. I was like, ooh, wow, this is very forward, and I admittedly didn't really realize how shy I was. I made plans to go with one group of friends, and I found out that another group of friends was also going to be making an appearance. And basically, as it got closer to the day, both groups dropped out, and I was just like, okay, well, why don't I just still go? Because there's nothing stopping me, and it would be probably educational. It was funny because I sold myself on square dancing as if it was research. You know what I mean? Like it's like I wrote a grant proposal to myself and then sold myself on the grant proposal and then I rubber stamped it and I got in my Prius and I drove over to Highland Park because no one else was showing up and I was like, you know what, goddamn, I got to do this. I got to see what this is about. I got to know myself. You know what I mean? I got to have peace and love and so clearly the most direct path to that I read in Mahatma Gandhi's book My Experience with Truth was an old-fashioned square dance and so yeah I went everyone else dropped out and I was like, well, you know what, I meant to go in November, I got too sick, I don't know when I'll get another chance, why not just do it now, YOLO, square dance, I mean, the phrases go together, probably should be one single sentence. um, and then businessmen who want to be enthusiastic can use a different word like capital, um, which is just a hilarious word, especially coming from like the word capital appears in Russian novels, which I think is particularly on the nose. Post-revolution, perhaps it was capital was sort of like their N word, but it also like carry like a lot of cool cachet. Um, yeah, God, oof, this shit is hitting me like a ton of bricks. Anyways, I show up late. It is so wholesome. It also has one of the big claims to fame of something to me, something like wanting to go do something like square dance is just the idea that like it's something you do that is that you do it at night. You meet people your age theoretically, and I'll get to that later. And then you get to go and like just mingle with people, but it's not in the context of like a bar or a gallery opening or some other stuff. You know what it was? It was the wine. It was a combination of pasta and wine. Never mix the two, kids. It's like friggin' muscle relaxers and alcohol. You could really Heath Ledger yourself. Um, don't try this at home. Uh, but you'll probably try it in Italy. And if you're listening to this and you're in Italy, try it at home. But yeah, coming over this hump, fighting off all of these carbohydrates. Oof, it's such hard work. Yet I don't have to do anything to make it happen. The body is truly a wondrous thing.
In any case, yeah. So I went. Yeah, and I arrived late, and it was held in the American Legion in Highland Park. The American Legion building. The American Legion is where veterans go to hang out and drink and socialize. Like that's how wholesome and American. Maybe not wholesome. That's how American this square dancing stuff is. Oh my god. I arrived late and I suspected that if I arrived right at 8 on the dot, I probably would have done the Pledge of Allegiance. You know what I mean? Like some guy would have come out and just like pulled a rope like a sailor and a American, stars and bars would have just gone up. That would have been, that was what it was. Now I think about it, it's like it's really funny. Like we want people to know what we are the fuck about with our flag. You know what I mean? Like it's not even just like it's not like colors or anything. It's like yeah, man, we got 50 states. How many states you got? We are United States. Never forget that. Never forget that. That's the other side of the Make America Great Again slogan. Never forget that. Not never forget because that denotes something else, but never forget that. But yeah, man, we just want people to know that we're rocking 50 stars and 13 colonies and God, the American flag, man, the American flag. Dude, I never really, I've never really thought about it as like a cultural artifact, but god damn it if it isn't. Um, so, anyways, okay, where were we? Yeah, I get to the dance, and yeah, it was really fun. It was funny because like I was sore the next day. Okay, I was sore after doing some. I would classify it as collegiate level square dancing. Okay, it was pretty damn advanced. A lot of instructions, a lot of movement. Like my knee, like I have a knee injury. Like after the first 15 minutes, my knee was like acting up. I was like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. And then I did it for like another like 2 hours, and then I was sore. And it's because it's frigging hard to square dance. It made me realize that like I don't remember how much energy and agility I had as a kid because I could square dance and probably not. I could just do it all day without stopping. And man, like I took a few breaks this time. Like my knee felt weird. My body was sore. Like I'm not used to. I'm not. Look, okay, man. Like I exercise. Like I think I keep in pretty good shape. But like like the human body, I don't think is designed to move in a circle. Like I don't think that that's what was intended. And maybe some lateral motions. This is straightforward, not that fast, but you can do them. Or obviously the old forwards, which is pretty strong. Backwards, you only see people do that with their cars, um, not their bodies, not generally, except like I guess Muhammad Ali, who is the world's greatest. Shout out, shout out. I was gonna say shout out to R. Kelly, and I was like, maybe that's too dark. um, I'm the world's greatest. Shit. Oh man, we loved his music though. Yeah, we loved his music. Oh, second king of pop to go down. Anyways, yeah, it was just fun. Um, but yeah, I was not. My body is not designed to like go in just a circle holding other people's hands and taking like tons of instructions from a guy up front. It's like my brain was being challenged. My body was like totally confused about the motions it was doing. Not prepared whatsoever. Okay, not for that level of connection. Holding hands, running. What are we about to step into a courthouse to get married? Married? It was just man. It was but then like after the first 15 minutes, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. My body is prepared. But that's how it felt, and I've never felt that way about anything in my adult life. Literally anything. Just wondering, it's like, can I handle this? Right? Can I? Is my body strong enough? Like those were the kinds of questions. What is? Do I need to tape up my ankles?
like that was a legitimate question for me. Do I need to put hand sanitizer on? You guessed it, my hands. I don't know. I don't know, man. Um, I got options. But yeah, I was. It was hard. But it was so much fun. Once I got over that first like hurdle, it was fun. It was good. Good laughs, good times. So just folky. Everyone else left. I stayed around and I just listened to the band play, and I was just like, the Firefly should have never been canceled. When you hear all these like rustic chords and people playing the violin, like a fiddle and stuff like that, you just go, oof. Like, okay, well, I'm impressed. Will I go back again? Probably. In the near future, hell no. But it was good. It was good. I can't deal with that level of soreness anymore. I think I need to go to a Pilates course both before and after square dancing if I decide to pursue it professionally. Um, but yeah, it was real sweet, just sweet. That's what I would say. Sweet, charming, fun, engaging, mysterious. It was good shit. But yeah, just such good boys and girls. It was good. I highly recommend it. There was one dance move where every couple cycles, all the women would run around the men and all the men would run around the women, and I was just like, okay, well, it had a cool effect because it was almost like one couple was like a zipper, and it was just like working down the line. It's hard for me to describe it, I think, over audio without visuals. Oh yeah, I do have visuals. I have a video feed. So the couples would essentially like seesaw back and forth, like like people do when they're dancing. And this couple, the rest of the line would move like this, and this other couple would move like that, and they would just seesaw between these couples. Seesaw being one of my favorite terms in for any kind of dancing. Seesaw is when people are at a club and a guy just comes up behind the girl and sort of like lurks, and then he puts his arms like over her shoulders, so she can see that like someone's behind him, but she doesn't know the dude, and he just sort of sidles up behind her. Oh wow, to be 18 and have eyeballs again. What a treasure that would be. But yeah, it was just God. It was just warm and fun and really honestly very geeky and skewed definitely older than I expected. Uh, but it was cool and felt like I got a little taste of adorableness. Um, you know, it's quaint, very quaint. And then if you went over to the bar to grab a drink, all these guys would be sitting there with their like POW-MIA, sweaters, tattoos, um, children with those names, just hanging around, and that was cool too. You know what I mean? It felt like a world that I normally wouldn't go to, and yeah. But I was also proud of myself that I just went. I just went without anybody else. Uh, it was like it was just cool. Like you just. But I also wasn't like trying to meet anybody. It wasn't that kind of like romantic situation, which is usually how these things get sold. It's like, hey, come to this dancing thing, and you'll meet some amazing friends of mine. And I'm always like, that's not. I can't go for that reason. Um, so, anyways, yeah, that was that. That was that. Doing variations on a theme at this point. What else happened this week? I went to friggin' the Skirball, which is over near Bel Air,
and it is a very nice museum, and it is a museum of Jewish culture and history, which was honestly friggin'. I've realized I like going to art museums, but like I now realize like I may like going to history museums even friggin' more. Oh boy, I've realized I have a new love of history museums. I got a big crush on it. We'll probably get married. Just in case you were thinking, I think the gift that we would prefer are some sleeves for my dear's books. Um, Perhaps some shelves to store my deer's body in. I love knowledge. I love history. It's super fun. I went to the Autry. I've been going to the Autry and telling everyone that the Autry is the friggin' shit because it's all about the history of westward expansion. I will take you there if you do visit. You will pay because I'm not going to. But it's an all-inclusive uh, drive to the Autry from my place. That's what you're gonna get. It's the shit, and only on the second Tuesday of the month because that's when the Autry is free. I'm both a man of principles and convenience and leisure. Uh, leisure. But yeah, it's just going to Skirball was just like it was really cool. There was just like all this Jewish history, and I was thinking like I talked with a friend of mine afterwards, and I was just like, that's so interesting, right? Like that a religious belief that it's like good works are the foundation for a good life, and it's all about contributing to your community, and you got to have kids. Like it gave a legit explanation for why you should have kids. I mean, not the most legit explanation, but like a pretty decent one, which was just like because it is your spiritual duty to have a family and to look after and care and love for them. And I was like, okay, I don't really necessarily 100% agree with you because I think results may vary on the quality of parenting and the desire to parent. But like there is some real stuff that I could appreciate and respect about it because I was like, oh, like what really struck me, and I'll get to the RBG exhibit later, but what really struck me about going to the Skirball was just like a sense of history, like a sense, a strong sense of like cultural history of being like these are our traditions, this is what we're about, um, here's how we like to spend our time, and it's really funny because I spent a lot of time sort of as a younger man. You fight like a much younger man. Mm, ultimately useless, I suppose I have to tell you. But thank you, Bane, for just chiming in right then and there. Could you please close the door on your way out so you can't get back in? Okay, I can do that. But yeah, the Skirball was just like it. Well, first of all, like I love it. Got me with all the historical stuff about like migration patterns of Jewish people, but it also like it's just it was just it had a lot of like history just has these really freaking cool lessons in it, and I think these lessons are like cross applicable to other things. Like one of the things that that I was thinking about that was interesting was the idea that like ultimately uh, the Jewish people were able to use in some ways they were able to use like the diaspora to their advantage at times, right? So there's the idea of like group solidarity. Like I can see this a lot in like black culture, black discussions. Like we have to be together as one people, and you must be part of the group. And it's something that like I really have friction with. But it was what I thought was interesting was the idea that like a diaspora, especially diaspora maybe of geographically, if not like in terms of belief system or ways of life, but geographic diaspora is like can be really frigging great because it actually enables you to have a large network. Like I thought one of the more interesting things was the idea that like Jews in Spain did super well because they had they could establish trade relations with North African Jews, and so they were able to just put themselves at the center of like commerce. And I was like, that's really cool actually, right? Like the idea that like the diaspora can work, like it's like the temple is destroyed and people have to disperse around the world, but in some ways it's like that's a tragedy, but on the other hand it's like they made lemonade out of that shit, right? It's like it turned it into like, oh, we actually know people all over the world and this network is really strong, so we can use it to establish relations that you otherwise, you Christians
in Spain otherwise would not be able to establish on your own. And so the idea is like, a diaspora can be a real asset. A diversity of fields that people go into or ability can be a thing of beauty. Not just affirming a cultural identity, but also creating, economic well-being, both for people in your community, people in your household, but also for like the people you trade with, right, or the people you do work on behalf of, right? Like it benefited the Spaniards to have these trade routes and to have these merchants running shit. And yeah, just that it can all like work out together, and that's just like history provides a different example of like what quote unquote solidarity can look like. It doesn't have to be like everyone on top of each other agreeing with each other 100%. The diversity is an asset and a thing of beauty and a thing to behold, which is like really meaningfully, personally meaningful to me. Okay, you can throw a tomato at me now, but yeah, no, it really is. I do feel like it's personally meaningful. Um, God, the other thing I thought was really cool was just like the sense of like it actually broke down like all these different traditions, and I was exposed to Judaism, but I didn't really know all the ins and outs and the meanings of the different rituals, and I just like thought it was really dope. What it really highlighted to me was like I guess neither on my African side or nor on my Vietnamese side of my family. Like, I don't and I certainly don't get it from mainstream culture. There's no sense of like a cultural or ethnic identity, which is to say, there is a sense of like what it means to be a black person in America. I feel like for me, I've got messages about what it is to be a black person in America, but it's not like a value system. It's not morals. It's not like a way of life. Like the only, and it's really funny. I've talked with my friends about this, and it's funny to be like in LA or trying to like explore entertainment for this reason, because like so much of my notions of like blackness are been totally shaped by what I've seen on TV. What I've seen on TV has no moral core. It is like, and I'm not just saying that to be like some Bill Cosby esque dude in that kind of way that I specifically mean, not in the other kind of way, but like just the idea of like an ethical and moral code, like there's a purpose. Here's your purpose for life. Like I've been thinking about that a lot in the last couple months. Like what is this about? What am I doing here? Okay, why does this donut have sprinkles on it? I wanted one with jelly filling. Uh, that's those are the kinds of questions I got, and it was just interesting to see something answer that. I talked with a friend afterwards who's black, and I was just telling him I was like, I feel like maybe it's me being an immigrant or something, but like I don't necessarily. It was just interesting to see the idea that like there's like achievements and accomplishments and positions of status and noteworthiness that are displayed at the Skirball, right? But there's also this idea of like a moral or ethical core imperatives value system that one lives their life around, and the two you could say operate in dialogue with one another, right? There's culture, which is to say like entertainment is what we call culture, but then there's also culture in the sense of like lifestyle, value systems, how we relate to people, and the idea that like I could see at the Skirball visually that there was a dialogue between these two forms of culture. There are probably other forms, but I just crudely I sort of divide it into those two groups, and the idea that like I do not feel such a dialogue. First of all, I don't really feel such a dialogue as an American. And I would also say, like, second, I don't necessarily feel that dialogue as like a black person, right? Like, it's not like there aren't lessons about the value system. There's like a bunch of hip hop songs. You know what I mean? Like there's a bunch of entertainment, and it does have like messages in it, but the messages are usually smack that booty. Uh, I mean, some of the stuff has messages, right? Like I think Jay Z is an interesting example where it's like he has like a value system and a code and a way of moving through life that he is communicating. And then he's also got like all the fun shit he does when he's like, by the way, I'm rich, and yeah, I can, you can finish the rest of that rhyme. I can have any. But it was just like interesting because I don't think I was raised with that. It was more like, I sort of joke. I'm like, it was more like, okay, come to this country. It's like shit is hard here. Study and get paid. That's
like there isn't like a whole lattice work of values that I would be exploring. So, anyways, I don't know. That was more of a speech than like anything funny or silly, but it just struck me. It just struck me that like that even like I don't necessarily feel like there is a moral core to like pretty much like 85% of the messages I get. I think most stuff is just like titillating. You know what I mean? Like it's just meant to be like I can feel something momentarily. I feel some kind of jolt of excitement or enticement or something, but it's not like a moral core. It's not like a way of life. So I don't know. That just like really struck me. And I was thinking about it. I was like, what is it that like why is it that like I love comedy? Why is it that I love like specifically I'm interested in some like black comedy? And it's like I think I'm interested in it because I love the truth. You know what I mean? Like I really do think it's like when you look at different ethnic groups, I think they do have like I'm not saying this is gonna sound like some fucking Norman Rockwell racist shit, but I think like different ethnic groups do have a different perspective on the world, and so they all have interesting things to contribute. You know what I mean? Like it was cool to see like the Jewish emphasis on education, right? Um, or family and community contribution and good works. Like I think like right and a lot of these if it was tying in like how these Jewish values actually became like American values, um, like emphasis on discourse like as performed by rabbis, and that really struck me too because I'm like made me realize like sometimes I feel like when I go to church and I talk with like a spiritual leader, it like the sense you got with like some of these rabbis is that they just like talked with people like they were just really interested in discourse and debate about the text and persuading each other and winning arguments, and they were just like sharpening their tools by doing that, right? Whereas like sometimes I feel like when I go and talk to a priest, it does feel like it's like his soul is in it but his heart is not. That's what it feels like. It feels like it's just interesting to think it's like in certain religious traditions, it's like that religious authority is like whipping me up like a 5 course meal, right? And then it's like sometimes I feel like I go to church and this guy just puts a friggin' like a double hamburger in the microwave and then hands it to me. He's like, it's from the Vatican's formula. And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, that's great, and it doesn't taste very good, and it's not bespoke. You know what I mean? It's not built for me, which is a very Los Feliz thing to say. I saw a girl this weekend at a juice shop that and it was a juice. No, it was at a coffee shop, but she used to work at a juice shop, and we'd go to church together and hang out and talk afterwards. I haven't been to that church in like a year and a half, and I asked her like, "Have you been?" She's like, "No, I haven't really been going." And she asked me like why I haven't been going. I was like, I think I'm still like on some spiritual stuff, but just in a different way. I'm choosing a different avenue to explore those things because like I do want something that is bespoke to me. Okay, I think I'm worth it. I think I'm worth it. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. That's just what I'm trying to say. Uh, and yeah, just the idea that like there are different forms of culture, and like culture right now is like entertainment, like that's how we define it, I think. But the idea that there's like a different form of culture out there that is sort of has an ethnic and traditional element. And maybe that's part of the reason we rebel against it, because it's like an ethnic element feels anti democratic, and, a moral element feels judgmental. But I don't know, maybe both are not. See, I'm getting philosophical. Okay, this is too much. God damn it. But no, but like it just like everything can't be entertainment. Like a value system cannot all be just like some shit that I think is funny or like that I want to share with my friend. You know what I mean? I want to send him like a YouTube. Like there's got to be other things that this stuff is about. But anyways, yeah, different ethnic groups have different things to offer. And I was thinking like, like that's what's so great about like black comedy, right? It's like it's raw. It's like very much like this is the truth. And black audiences, like I will say, look, it's not like I perform for like a ton of black audiences, but My audiences will enjoy the truth. They'll enjoy the truth even if it's friggin' ugly and uncomfortable. And I think that that's because the audience sort of can appreciate it. It's like, yeah, when things are really like bad for you, you you live in a dual mind, but at the same time, like your other mind, like the mind that you have to hide, like really loves it when people say the truth, when they speak the truth. It feels like paradise. And I think that's something, aside from obviously, 360 dunks, uh, and face tattoos, I think it's just yet another thing that is underappreciated by America about black culture. But, you know, yeah, I just think it's a special thing to offer if people are willing to accept it, right? That's actually why also, Jewish humor, right? Is a product of like that suffering and shit. Okay, that's heavy. That's a lot. Um, yeah, I just what else? I I've been dating. I've been online dating for the last 2 months, and then I decided to shut it down this week. I was just like, I think that there's this other stuff I'm supposed to be working on. You know what I mean? Like, there's just other stuff that I don't know. Like, but they were fun. They were fun for the time, but then it was sort of like, okay, well, that was like 5 hours, and that was $20, and I don't know why I did it. I can't really tell you. Um, so I was just like, okay, let's just not, let's just read more books or something. Go on hikes. I went on a really nice hike today. The air is so clear because the rain knocks out all the smog. Don't worry, I'm sure it'll come back. Never fear. Don't don't freak out too much. But yeah, I think it's just like like LA looks spectacular today. The sun was amazing, and my hike was fairly brief. I wish it could have been longer, but it was beautiful. And the air was clear. I petted this dog. I got to know this dog today, and he had like the softest. It was the softest freaking coat, and he was a Puerto Rican street dog. That's not a breed. That's what he is. That's his background, and he was just there, and I petted him and learned about him and his personality. There's a service where if you want a dog, it's on Instagram. Where if you want a dog, you can pay $200 to this organization, and they will get all the required shots for the dog, and they will put the dog on a plane, and they will send the dog to you. You just pick them up at like LAX or Burbank. If you thought ahead a little bit more about your logistics, um, and you just pick up the dog, and it's the like it's. I was just like, that's cool. That's wild. Like this dog just enters your life that way. It just it felt cool. Um, oh boy, looking at all these family photo pictures. Just looking at Palace of Fine Arts. Where's that? Oh, whoa, okay. Okay. But yeah. Anyways, yeah. I love the Griffith Observatory. I love the park. Oh yeah, this dog was just good. I like my mind is jumping all types of around. Um, this was like some old shit I want to talk about. I went and saw the Yayoi Kusama documentary, and she was just fascinating. I don't necessarily know if I have that much to say about it, but it was really friggin' good, and you should see it. Um, it's nice. I did talk with someone. Oh, I did. Oh, I mentioned that I was going to talk about the RBG exhibit. Yeah, if you're in LA and or if you're an attorney, you need to go see the RBG exhibit at the Skirball is excellent. Or if it travels to a locality near you, I definitely would recommend it. Just great insight into someone who is just brilliant and hardworking, and just a tireless advocate. I don't know how I'd feel if I was around Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but I would just say just being in her exhibit made me feel embarrassed about my level of accomplishment. So I don't even know how Antonin Scalia did it every day. I think she probably the pressure of being around her might have killed him early. Uh, so that's just for the record. I just want to point that out. And yeah, it was just yeah, she's an inspiration. I wish I saw it earlier. She's just such a badass, facing so many struggles. Her career moved in all these weird directions. Uh, she couldn't get a clerkship. She got a Second Circuit clerkship, but couldn't get a Supreme Court clerkship because she was a woman, and she just kept chugging along. And she wanted to get into a law firm, and she couldn't do that because she was a woman. And then so she ended up working for the ACLU, and then eventually, when the law firms were interested in her, oh my! By the way, she also got like some of the highest grades in law school. Just a real badass. And after she like eventually, when there was an opportunity for her to enter like law firms and shit, she decided not to do it. Um, she actually decided to go move to Sweden and write a book about law in Sweden. But also like being there, she said it was only a decade after I left Sweden that I really understood how exposure to Swedish values and Swedish notions of equality had influenced my commitment to both racial and gender and other equality under the law. And I just thought that was really powerful, right? That it was like serendipity. Yeah, I'm gonna say serendipity, Dippin' Dots. Yeah, she just seemed like someone who was just like has thought. It's not exactly outside of their own thought. She just seems like someone who just thinks really deeply about stuff. It's like, yeah, she's a genius. But I guess what I'm saying is like, as a judges, they feel like so far away, right? They wear like special robes that are like different. Like I only get to wear a robe a judge wears when I'm getting my hair cut, and usually it's not all black. It's like some other color. It's probably got dollar signs on it, or it's like a mauve. Uh, but yeah, it's just not relatable. But it just made her both like very human and almost like because it made her human, it made her even more superhuman. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? You get Jesus, um, you get Krishna. Um, so yeah, I just was, and just like the notion of like the relationship between the two people was interesting. I got into an amazing discussion with the person who invited me, someone who I've gotten to know and become closer friends. There's also an amazing exhibit at the Skirball for kids. We were the only adults without a child without a children in there. Clearly, I don't have a child, but I can conjugate on a first grade level. But yeah, it was just really excellent. But we did get into a debate, and she made a really great point. She was like, "Well, if you have issues with certain ways that politics are practiced, like if you have certain issues with like racial politics or certain issues, gender politics, don't abandon these issues. Just identify as like a feminist, but practice your own version of it." And I was like, "Oh, I never really realized that was an option. I always just want to forget, I want to like not join groups." Because there's better tax benefits that way, and like it's hard to, like my taste in hotels, my taste in camping, it's a lot easier when you're just alone. I think that's I think that's mostly, it's just like my commitment to my cooking and my finances. I'm just like, if I don't have to join a group, I'll find a reason not to. And she just pushed back and was just like, why? She was like, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but based on what you're expressing to me, she's like, well, you could have and embrace these beliefs. You could just be like, I don't like any of that dumb shit. You can express what you disagree with while affirming the underlying idea. And I was like, damn, use the RGB today. Um, use the RGB. RGB, RBG, RBG, RBG. Arby's should make a sandwich for her in her honor. The the RBG. Get it? RB and then G. The sandwich would be called the G. You know, like the G Shock watch with the big face. You know. Okay, this is. I can at post pasta. I can feel some feeling coming back into my legs. I can feel my brain a little bit, but goddamn it, I'm loopy. Anyways, yeah, this I don't know. That's basically all I wanted to say. Stay in school, keep learning. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't know. Did Roma win? Who knows? Green Book maybe. I think you got to look at some of this stuff structurally, which is to say, when people get angry about these events, it's like just look at the makeup. Look at the makeup. The Green Book one, oh man, that eighth grade, even though eighth grade wasn't nominated, it still should have won. It still, ugh, it still should have won. It should have won Best Picture. That was hands down in my opinion. That was the best picture of that was the best picture of the year. I don't understand how eighth grade didn't get nominated. That it's like it's oh boy, oh boy, it was awesome. Uh, in any case, uh, so yeah, I don't know, man. Okay, so all these results came out. Funny, funny. Yeah, I don't know what to. You know what? I'm sure. Look, everything has already been said about the Oscars, but here I'll just give my quick rundown of it, which is to say that I look at some of this stuff structurally as opposed to emotionally, and I just would say that this isn't even funny. It's just, but it's the truth. Is like, if you think about it, the Academy generally people are invited later in their careers, right? Or they're invited on the basis of some accomplishment, some significant accomplishment. So it's probably going to be people who skew older, right? So the average age of the Oscars has to be probably like the mean is probably heavier to older people, is what I'm trying to say. It's probably heavier towards men. It's probably heavier towards like white people, right? Like, and all of that is going to affect friggin' everything. That's like voting habits, and in that way, like age. Of course, age is out of step. It's like yeah, age. People are gonna be out of step with. I guess I want to say it's like people are gonna be out of step with like the Oscars is gonna be right like, because of the money involved and also just like the makeup, people who are voting, all that stuff is gonna be just different. Um, It's going to be like award shows. Like you should expect that they're going to be out of step with public taste. And also, I will say that like the people who are like the angriest about stuff, like that is also those people are also perhaps out of step with like whatever the mainstream is. So I don't know, man. I don't know. That's funny. Green Book one. God damn. I didn't see it because I heard it was sort of like so so. Anyways, okay. That's all I want to say. Merry Christmas. Even though in February, I just want to get out of the way earlier. I don't want to. I want to make sure I don't forget. But anyways, take care, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.